Hi, and welcome to our look at the magnificent Salisbury Cathedral in Wiltshire, home to one of the 4 copies of the Magna Carta. Salisbury Cathedral can be found in the south of England, and we have a complete video of our visit to Salisbury, taking in more of the beautiful sights of this historic city, and I'll pop that up at the very end. We'll take a complete look around inside the cathedral, picking out as many features as we can, including the chapter house where you'll find the Magna Carta. There is no photography allowed of the document itself, but at least you'll know where to find it. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at this masterpiece of Early English Gothic architecture. The story starts in the mist of time with an Iron Age hill fort at Old Soaring, a couple of miles north of this point. The early Brits, Romans, Anglo-Saxons and eventually the Normans all occupied this area and built a great city. However, after a dispute with the military garrison there, the decision was made to build a new cathedral in the valley below. In 1197, Bishop Herbert Pye sought permission to resite the cathedral, and eventually the foundation stones were laid on the 28th of April 1220. Remarkably, the main body of the cathedral was completed in just 38 years, an astounding feat for medieval construction. Some later additions were the cloisters added in 1240, the chapter house in 1263, and the tower and spire from 1330. The spire at Salisbury Cathedral is the tallest in the UK, standing at 404 feet or 123 metres. That spire added considerable weight, so work has been undertaken over the centuries to ensure it remains standing. Another remarkable feature is that because of the high water table, remember Salisbury is surrounded by rivers, the foundations are only 4 feet deep, that's 1.2 metres. And there's a hole in the floor inside the cathedral where the level of the water table can be measured. Salisbury Cathedral is constructed of freestone, quarried around 10 miles to the west, along with the Purbeck marble, which we'll see more of later. The art installation Seaview by Hilary is a statement on climate change and coastal erosion. It was temporary and should have left in October 2024, so don't expect to see it on your visit. On a more classical note, did you know that Salisbury Cathedral is also featured in works by John Constable and J.M.W. Turner? Anyway, enough of the outside. Let's take a step into Salisbury Cathedral. The first thing that strikes you is the sheer scale and proportions of the nave. The soaring arches, the grand Purbeck marble columns. It is unusual in that it's so tall and so narrow, and the use of the 2 coloured stones in the columns seems to accentuate that feature. There are tombs placed between some of the columns, notably that of William Longspear, half-brother of King John and the illegitimate son of Henry II. William was the first person to be buried in the cathedral. Salisbury Cathedral is home to the world's oldest working mechanical clock, built in 1386. It has no face and was designed only to strike every hour, but that was enough to get you to the church on time. Now Salisbury Cathedral is home to the very old and the very new, like the new font designed by William Pye and installed in 2008. It looks wonderful and reflects the stained glass very well. We'll see more of that stained glass as we wander through. I will now mention the regimental colours at one end of the cathedral, mostly marking the Wiltshire Regiment. These retired standards have a plaque on the wall to commemorate the battles these flags saw. We've arrived at one of the altars, and another new addition by William Pye, this time in collaboration with furniture maker Luke Hughes, a former cathedral school pupil. The pair of altars were consecrated on Sunday the 14th of January 2024, and we'll see the second altar shortly. We now head to one of my favourite parts of the cathedral, and that's the choir. I love the intricately detailed woodwork and the seating for the cloisters, but the one thing that stands out is the Salisbury Cathedral organ. The current one, by Henry Willis and Sons, was built in 1877 and replaced several earlier ones. I think these are amazing instruments, and there is no better place to listen to one than a cathedral like Salisbury's. It is that time I should mention, if you're enjoying this video then please give us a like. In a world driven by algorithms, it makes a difference. And if you like my style of video, then why not subscribe and hit that notification bell, and you can catch more of our travels. As we continue our tour of Salisbury Cathedral, we'll take a look at some of the chapels within and discover some of those remembered here. One chapel that stands out for me is the Lady Chapel. It has exquisite stained glass windows and is now home to the other of those William Pye, Luke Hughes altars. Next to the tomb of St Thomas George's and his wife, you'll find some of the original flooring and the foundation stones. One tomb that stands out is that of Lady Catherine Grey, younger sister of Lady Jane Grey, our 9-day queen, after the death of Edward VI in 1553. As is the norm, there are numerous effigy-covered tombs of bishops past, and some a little more ornate than others. The detail in the stonework is amazing, but the names mean nothing to me. A stroll around Salisbury Cathedral, taken in the various chapels, and you'll come face to face with a collection of saints. Below those statues are the names of more recent figures to be remembered. Then another tomb, this time to Sir Richard Montperson, not of Montperson House fame, that was a later descendant. However, Richard owned a house on Cathedral Close that later became known as Arundel's, the home of former UK Prime Minister Ted Heath. Interestingly, Sir Ted Heath's ashes are interred in Salisbury Cathedral. Another interesting memorial is to Lawrence Whistler, glass engraver to the late Queen Elizabeth II. Lawrence's final resting place is also in Salisbury Cathedral. Now there is an entry fee to visit, and it's slightly cheaper to book in advance online. There's also additional tours that may interest you. I'll pop a link in the description below, along with the hotel we chose to stay in, which is a 5-minute walk from Salisbury Cathedral. Now we have to take a short stroll to the chapter house, and we get our first glimpse of the cloisters. The chapter house is where you view one of the 4 exemplifications of the Magna Carta from 1215. Housed in a little tent to protect it from the light. There is no photography or video permitted, but it's worth seeing as it's one of the cornerstones of our democracy. In fact, the Magna Carta almost takes the shine off the beauty of the chapter house. Is it as good as the one at Wells Cathedral? I'll let you decide. I'll add a link to that video at the end. Now, as we pass the medieval table, okay, the top has been replaced, we'll make our way to the cloisters. From here you'll get a different view of Salisbury Cathedral. I guess a more reflective look at the work that went into creating this masterpiece. We now take a final walk along the cloisters and exit. It's now time to say thanks so much for watching. Don't forget that like. There's a full video of Salisbury and a look around Wells Cathedral too. Thanks again, stay safe, stay well and happy travels.